segment of this. And now I want to, well, I want to go into the history of this shit, just briefly. You know, I, uh, I started watching, PPP largely because I agreed with his takes, right? Um, but typically the ones who would read my chat was like Surfer. So like I've been like watching this guy's shit for a long time. You know, this really kind of sucks. Kind of sucks to have to burn this bridge, but Surfer knows a lot about burning bridges, given that he's a convicted arsonist. Uh, that's something about his history you might know. He burned down some bridge, and is like infamous in his hometown for doing it. You know, you can kind of see why he and PPP got along there. Um, you know, and not just that. PPP had a big influence on Surfer, on the man he is today. Surfer would not be the man he is today without PPP. Um, without PPP, he might have found a church with values, a church that could teach him to be a Christian rather than just, claim the mantle of one. But sadly, PPP is a grifter. And his time as a preacher was just as much a grift, a way to avoid getting a real job, as this shit he's doing now, right? It was never really in his soul. And so everything he taught Surfer about Christianity, about preaching, sort of came from that sort of sleazy snake oil salesman. And I think after taking in all that snake oil, Surfer became a bit reptilian himself. And you can see that in his theology. You know, there's not much to be spoken of there. His theology is basically, well, the Bible says it, which is the dumbest form of Christianity on the planet today or ever. I mean, but that's just my opinion. An opinion I base on the fact that the Bible only exists to validate the Catholic Church. Paul, who said, "Don't add or take away from the book," he couldn't have been talking about the Bible. It hadn't been compiled when he wrote that. We don't know what book he was talking about, but it was likely the book of Marcion, which was, the Bible before the Romans destroyed the Bible and made their own. I know they don't teach you about this in Sunday school, but yeah, the Bible that you buy at Barnes and Noble is not the original text. The original text is a bit different and a bit shorter, but still has a very different point. It's very different. Like the works of the Gnostics, it's very different than what you know as Christianity, but much closer to the teachings of Christ. Um, but what Surfer believes is that, you know, by trusting the plan, by trusting that that book, which was passed down through the hands of tyrants and illiterates over and over again, has never been altered or changed or marred by theology, politics, or any of that. No, because that word must remain pure. God will allow his children to die in all sorts of terrible ways, but he will never allow that book to become corrupt. A golden calf, if ever there was one. But, you know, Surfer, I will say that so far as his religion is barbaric, primitive bullshit, it only for ravings of backwater village monkeys. It is infinitely better than the Luciferian Satanism he practiced before, which I would have looked down on even back when I was a pagan, as the most bizarre and warped form of narcissistic, ego masturbatory bullshit. Um, but you know what? I think it is a bit unfair of me to attack Surfer for that, considering his proud ethnic Jewish heritage. As a man who's been featured on Murdoch twice as the character of PPP's sidekick slash gay lover, Surfer is an honorary Aryan. Perhaps he is the most honorary of all Aryan Jews, for his place in our zeitgeist as that guy that PPP beat up in his apartment. Without Surfer's contribution, the battle for the alt-right might have been lost. Anyway, that's it for my roast of Surfer this time. I didn't, and that's because I didn't want this. I never wanted this. I still, uh, have a lot of love in my heart for the dude. But I'm gonna tell him what I told Earjuice shortly before things went really bad between us. I'm at a point where I look at the chat, I look at the comments, and people are either praising you for hurting me, or they're calling me an idiot for trusting you. If you were really my friend, you would understand why that is an untenable position for anyone to be in. Like, you can read the Bible or you can read Machiavelli, and both books will tell you that no man would have put his friend in a position like that. After this shit, you just fucking, like, Surfer just fucked off. Like, I don't know, and someone, like, if I was wrong, I would expect that he would either be mocking me or berating me, one or the other. But he's just fucked right off. Um, Not a word from him. I think he knows the plan backfired. And it backfired because I don't think Godwinson was. Well, I don't think he expected Godwinson to let it slip who the accusations were coming from. I think the plan was to have everyone calling me a pedophile, with me pointing an accusing finger in every direction, with only laughter as a response, all for Surfer's amusement. Like it was with esoteric Shaggyism. I think Surfer loves to see me suffer. Um, I don't know why. Um, and I'm not asking for your opinion. There's a lot of people all out there who will see that as justified. They'd be hard pressed to explain why it's justified, but um, these aren't the sort of people who ask why. They're the sort of people who read a book and just agree with what it says. Um, but yeah, I don't think Surfer expected me to know that he was behind all this. I think this was a true gay op in the sense that it was like a very gay op. And I gotta say, no matter how stupid I would look for being wrong, I would still rather be wrong. I would still rather someone prove me a fucking idiot right now so I could apologize to Surfer and look like a fucking moron rather than be right about this. But this is something that it's just something I'm going to have to keep dealing with in life. That's one of the devil's toll booths where you can either, let Satan brand a part of you and it won't hurt no more, or you go through without the brand and you bear the pain. I don't want the mark of the devil on my soul. So I keep having trust, right? Trust is a currency that ain't welcome in hell. So long as you have trust, you can have faith. The first step to taking away someone's faith in God is taking away their trust in other people. So, despite shit like this, despite the sort of shit that people like Surfer peddle in, I will continue to have trust that there are those out there who follow the gospel properly, who will not shun me for my whoring and drinking at the ward. But regardless of that, um, I actually am pulling my punches here because that's how it works with Surfer. He goes right from my throat, and I pull my punches because I'm the Christian between the two of us. Regardless of denomination, man, I'm the Christian. That's the comparison. If that's the fucking standard, right? So I've pulled a lot of punches here. There's a lot of stuff I could have said, but I don't want to, because the thought of Surfer being hurt by something I say, I don't get anything out of that. That doesn't do shit for me. I just ain't like that. If I hate someone, if I have ill intentions to someone, I make it very fucking clear. This fucked up psychological friend trolling that PPP mind fucked into Surfer is some satanic sick shit I want no part of. But as a man of Christ, even mercy has its limits, right? Even mercy has its limits. So, this last thing is just a warning. I warn you, some of you ain't gonna like what you're about to see. But I felt it was relevant to the topic at hand. I pulled my punches this time, but next time I won't. Next time you get the frog, Surfer. You don't want the frog.